And before I answer that question, which I will do, I will preface it by explaining why I'm here today. I'm not publishing a book right now. I do hope to be publishing one soon. It happens to be about Ukraine, and I started writing it before the crisis, and the crisis has now delayed the publication of the book. I'm not promoting a book. I'm not Ukrainian. I don't work for anybody in Ukraine. I'm not a lobbyist. But I am here because the story of the Dutch referendum and the way that the politics around the referendum are developing in Ukraine are to me so outrageous and so shocking that I accepted the invitation to come here and speak about it. And this is connected to what originally interested me in the region. I've watched, for 20 years, I've watched Ukraine try to rebuild itself as a society. There have been a lot of ups and downs. It's funny, I tend to show up there, now I'm there quite often, but I would show up there periodically, and of course every time there would be a change and a difference, and I would watch the nature of the society changed. And I was involved as an observer and a kind of cheerleader watching Ukraine over the last 2 or 3 years first negotiate its association agreement, which, by the way, goes back some years now, and then find itself forced to fight for it. So this is, I think, right now the only country in Europe which has actually shed blood for the European ideal. In February of 2014, starting in November of 2013, when a Ukrainian, profoundly corrupt and undemocratic Ukrainian president tried to take the agreement away from Ukraine, younger Ukrainians, and not only younger, several generations of Ukrainians went out on the street. They defended a set of ideas and ideals. They thought they were fighting against corruption, for the rule of law, for a more open society, for the right to be part of Europe in a cultural sense. I don't think anybody in Ukraine imagines they'll join the European Union anytime soon, but to become part of the European continent in a deeper way. They fought for that. Some of them died for it. They waved European flags on the square of central Kiev. And when their president finally ran away, literally fleeing the country out of fear of the size of the rebellion, I've watched them try and put the country together again and put it back on a European course. And it hasn't been entirely successful. It goes up and down. As I said, there's a long history of trauma there. There's 100 years of dictatorship that have to be overcome, and therefore ways of thinking and behaving that have to be changed. But when you add up what's been done, when you look at the pockets of success, when you look at the young people creating new television stations and founding new businesses, all you can do is admire them and think, wow, this is something that we have to help. And to discover that, in the Netherlands, that story hasn't been told and isn't well understood, and that a very peculiar referendum with odd origins is about to be voted on that seeks to deny Ukrainians an agreement which for them represents rule of law, democracy, trade, and prosperity, seems to me just extraordinary. I'm hoping maybe you'll tell me in the course of the conversation what's happened inside Dutch society. A vote for this referendum is a vote for rule of law, and a vote against it is a vote for chaos, war, and violence, of a kind that you know perfectly well, because that was it was that kind of disorder and that kind of catastrophe that brought down the plane that killed so many of your citizens 2 years ago. Why would the Dutch, of all people, vote for chaos, which is in effect what you're doing if you vote against an agreement that Ukrainians hope will build a deeper relationship to Europe?